Hey guys, I'm Andrew McComb and welcome to Web3 TV. In today's video, I'm with Jeff Bogensberger, founder and CEO of the Laughing Otter DAO. And we're going to find out what a Web3 community is and how it can make a social impact. But before we do, make sure you register to watch every episode of Web3 TV here, where we share inspiring stories of all things Web3, making a difference to the world. All sorted? Okay, let's go and meet Jeff.
Okay, guys, so we spoke to Jeff in our last video. If you missed that one, you can check it out here. I'll put a link above there for you. But in this video, Jeff, we want to talk about essentially how to build a Web3 community. So we get a lot of questions from our audience that I'm going to put to you. But I guess what we're going to do first is a little bit of a recap on what Web3 is, and then evolve it from there so that if someone hasn't watched the prior video, they can get a little bit of an update in this one. But effectively, it's essentially, if you're looking to build a social community, this is the place to be. So the first question that we have is, and this is probably more specific to you, Jeff, and so Jeff's got the Laughing Otter community, guys. If you haven't seen it, I'll put a link below for you as well, thelaughинgotter.com. But Jeff, you're creating a social community that makes a large membership community that makes a social impact, especially for children with mental health requirements. So what is Web3 to you, and then obviously for the viewer's sake as well?
Okay, so Web3 to me is, we've evolved from Web 1, which was flat websites. Web 2 was more engaging websites like Facebook, Amazon, Expedia, Google, that sort of thing. And Web 3 is now using blockchain technology to give control over data and to the individual user, bring that control back to them. So using blockchain technology, it's the decentralization of information and allowing for more peer-to-peer interaction and the decentralization of processes.
Okay, so if we were to be more specific towards a social community, how does it work for a community?
Okay, so what's important to note with Web3 that is probably not that obvious to people who aren't in the space, it's the emotional connection that Web3 is having with each other on a human level. There are literally hundreds of millions of people who believe that this new technology and the direction that we're heading can have a real positive social impact on the world and disrupt traditional ways of doing things and archaic institutions, and giving the individual a fairer chance in life. And so this emotional attachment to this change is allowing for people to build communities because of the target market, the Web3 individual and the Web3 community is really open to conversation and change, and really are the types of people who are looking for reasons to connect and to be a part of something special. So it's Web3 and community building it's in part technology, but also there's a human emotional side of it and that's really the exciting part for the Laughing Otter.
So if we were to use the Laughing Otter as an example of, say, building a community, can you talk us through your process from, I guess, vision through to implementation, so that someone else who has a vision for a great cause, for example, or a magnificent community can start to follow that process?
Okay. So I think I have a little bit of an advantage to a lot of people in that I've spent the last 20 some odd years in sales roles, customer facing roles, and in leadership roles that had a real heavy sales component to them. So I have years of experience of getting out and interacting with people and building a market and building a customer base. And so a lot of the same basic philosophies are the same. What you want to do is you need to become clear with your vision and the types of people who you believe will resonate with that vision. And then it's really a matter of activity and being active in all sorts of channels, whether it's Twitter Spaces, Twitter, Discord, LinkedIn. LinkedIn is actually one that's a lot of Web3 projects tend to ignore, but it's really useful. And then right down to real world events, meetups. There are Web3 crypto groups and meetup groups that are happening in just about every city. So if you find them, and then just be really aggressive with the amount of activity that you're doing. And I assure you, especially in this Web3 space where people are so open to connecting, that you will meet people who will then introduce you to people, and as that community grows, it becomes exponential. The biggest, but one really important thing to remember in all of your interactions, in all of your comments, in all of your interaction with others and with your community as it's growing, hold a high level of integrity and honesty in everything that you say and do, and stay consistent to your vision. That resonates, and it resonates a lot with people. And the more genuine you can be, the more people will connect to you as a person. And that in the Web3 space is perhaps ironically the biggest part of building a community, because it is such a technology focused discussion. It's really the human side of it that sets people apart, whether or not their communities are successful or not.
Very cool. So what I'm hearing is clarity of vision. So be very clear on the purpose of and the vision, what it looks like once that purpose of the vision is being manifested. Then go and share it with as many people as possible who hopefully are like-minded in that realm. The one thing that I guess you didn't mention was the technical application. So once you go and talk to all these people, they need to come back and be able to join that community. So with regards to Web3, is there a software platform, or is there multiple platforms or something? Like in obviously traditional, there's websites and there's all these, Facebook groups and everything else, but Web3 is taking it to a whole new level. So what would you recommend in the build out of your community?
Well, the two at this stage the three platforms that if I was going to focus energy on would be Discord, creating a Discord, Twitter, and if you're either you or somebody on your team can hold spaces, but participating in other people's spaces is really useful. I've connected with a lot of people around the world just through that, and when you're on a Twitter space, and I know it's not that easy for people. For me, it comes naturally, but try to participate. Be a speaker. Don't be just a listener. But when you do say something of value and that contributes to the conversation, because you always pick up new followers and people and connections. And the other one, because there's a sophistication of the type of people from a business standpoint, LinkedIn is a good one for hooking up with potential partners, collaborators, investors, that sort of thing. So those would be the three groups that I would focus on, especially Discord and LinkedIn. There's ways to do it right, but luckily with YouTube and Google and everything like that, there are 100 videos on how to build a LinkedIn following or how to build a Discord following. and they're step by step. And if you do them, then you'll be 90% there. So it's not that hard.
So Jeff, they sound like Web 2 platforms though. How can we get them onto Web 3? So it's going to, first of all, why would we want to get them onto Web 3? And then how's it going to make it even better for the communities that they're building?
I guess there's a bit of an irony there. I'll, from a Laughing Otter perspective, those are the only platforms that I focus on. So I haven't been focused on getting people onto a Web3 platform because I guess a bit of irony to it is that the Web3 community, that's the three platforms that they play in. That's where most of the discussions are happening. And that's a good place to start. And as my team grows, I'll look into more sophisticated Web3 projects. But right now, I don't have the time and the resource. And sometimes it's just easier not to buck the tide. You just
so utilize what's existing in Web 2 to bring them over to Web 3. And then on the Laughing Otter, as an example, you've got a DAO there, you've got a token, and you've got NFTs. So they're the Web 3 technology in the short term. There are obviously platforms out there, and we can put a link below in the description as well. Other platforms that create social communities in the Web 3 space that allow you to manage them all together. But are you saying it's actually utilize the Web 2 resource to get the pool of people who are interested in your cause, bring them across, and then manage them with the tools that Web 3 gives you over and above Web 2?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we'll see now that there's been a shakedown and a disruption. I think what's my prediction is that more and more Web3 projects are going to, they're not going to be as militant about it's either Web3 or nothing. They're and at the Laughing Otter, I don't see a reason why we should ignore 30 years of trial and error and R&D as far as user interfaces and UX and like, yes, there's some. I don't like how the data is controlled by a handful of companies and that sort of thing. I don't like any of that. But there's a lot of really good stuff that happened in Web 2, like the ability to communicate and like chat rooms. And I'm not on it very much, but a lot of other projects really use Reddit a lot. And Reddit's actually been quite successful in creating a hybrid kind of world as well. So I think that's the direction the whole community is going, is that it doesn't have to be all or nothing. And really, like if you look at any technology, from the car was invented on a four-wheel platform because that was the most stable platform for horse and buggy. Like we evolve as we go. You don't, every time you get something new, you don't throw out everything that happened before you. And so I think that's more and more Web3 is shifting back and taking the best of Web 2, adding the best of Web 3, and then in combination, then we'll have the most powerful projects that we can do.
Yeah. So other than the members of the community, I know, especially with Laughing Otter and other platforms, there's a lot of content creators and artists forming their own communities and bringing the power back to them. How does Web3 protect them as opposed to the Web 2 environment?
Well, the biggest one, and where the Laughing Otter is building out is when you look at content websites like Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, even TikTok, none of them really truly reward the content creators. Whereas we're building out a way to use blockchain and NFTs to financially reward the content creators of the Laughing Otter website, whether that's an article or some music or whatever they create. And I think that's a direction the whole industry is moving, is that this idea of people posting stuff and then if it gets 10 million views, they get nothing for it. I think that's going to, I think Web3 is going to erode a lot of that. It's also going to give, because of the ability to build community and this openness to connect that's happening in Web3, artists will be able to create their own community and then be able to monetize to those communities in a way like we've never seen before, and thereby eliminating a lot of the financial erosion that happens when you need to bring in record companies and promoters and that sort of thing, because artists will be able to be run more like their own end-to-end business using Web3.
Yeah, so sound like a bit more control, or a lot more control back to the creator or the artist, and then obviously potentially a lot more reward that's shareable with the fans and community at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's when you look at the big websites, like yes, a few people make a few dollars here and there on Spotify or YouTube or that sort of thing, but the amount of people who make no money and the percentage that people are getting in relation to the overall profits of and revenue of those platforms, it's completely unfair. So adding some financial motivation to what typically now is vanity driven posts will well, hopefully create a little bit more artistic creativity and also just some more fairness,
Awesome.
in those posts.
All right, Jeff. Well, thanks for sharing your wisdom again for the Web3 TV viewers, guys. If you are interested in building your own social community, leave us a comment below, guys. Tell us what you're doing. We'd love to hear what you're doing. Love to hear what you think of the Laughing Otter as well. You want to check that one out. And yeah, just in general, what do you value most about Web3 and how it's going to make a social impact to the world? We'd love to hear it. Jeff, as always, mate, thanks for coming on the show. We've also, guys, if you'd like to know about the background of the Laughing Otter, we've put together an interview with Jeff about how he came into the Web3 space and now how he's making a difference to children in particular and in the mental health space. We'll put a link as well for that one. Jeff, thank you so much, mate. Really appreciate your help, and we'll see you in the next interview.
All right, thanks a lot. It was great fun.
Well, there it is, guys. I hope you enjoyed this Web3 TV episode. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comments below. And remember, if you'd like to watch every episode of Web3 TV, visit the link below or subscribe to our channel. And remember to hit the bell icon so that we can notify you every time a new episode is released. I'm Andrew McComb, and I look forward to sharing more inspiring Web3 TV episodes making a difference to the world. I'll see you soon.